And right now we are about to go into a conversation, and I think it's a conversation that concerns everyone, each and every one of us, and it's about the Akosombo spillage. And we all know that, was it earlier, last year actually?
Last year.
Yeah, last year when the spillage happened, it affected so many people around the dam, and we even had to go out there and help them. And at the end of the day, we also built a little medical center for them, which they are actually really happy about. But then again, on the news right now, we are hearing that there is going to be another spillage. The question is, are we ready for that?
So last year, on the 15th of September, the first spillage, the spillage list last year started, and it continued till about the 30th of October. All right, so it was over a month long, that the spillage went. And of course, we all know the after effects of what happened last year, right? And it was quite devastating. Now, we're going to take a look briefly at what the statement from the VRA is saying now, and find out from other persons who are in that space, engineers and so on and so forth, how to prepare, what to look out for, and so on and so forth. So let me just first of all read to you the entire statement. Okay. All right. So it says here from the VRA on their letterhead, dear Sir, Madam, notification of possible controlled spillage of water from the Akosombo Dam, stakeholder engagement. Now, the Volta River Authority, VRA, intends to commence engagement regarding the potential controlled spillage of water from the Akosombo Dam. Now, this precautionary measure is crucial to maintaining the structural integrity of the dam, and ensuring the safety of our communities. Now, we propose to engage you and the relevant team to discuss the potential implications, mitigative measures, and information dissemination. The undersigned will be following up to confirm the suitability of the dates and times of the engagement. We count on your utmost cooperation. Thank you. Yours faithfully, Engineer Ken Arthur, Deputy Chief Executive of Services. Now, it's been circulated to 50 different people.
Yeah.
So a very interesting one, very extremely comprehensive work done there. All right. Now, I think the first thing that jumps out at me is that the July 5th release has come. The release is to trigger conversations and engagements, right? I think this is just a sign. This is a sign of lessons learned.
Yes.
It's
putting everyone in the loop.
Good. It's a very good sign of lessons learned, and making sure that all the people who are within the space to help mitigate the damage that we saw last year, the extent of damage we saw last year, would be involved and be prompted ahead. So, of course, we have the Honorable Regional Minister for the Eastern Region. We have the Honorable Regional Minister for the Volta region.
Yeah.
We have the Honorable Regional Minister for the Greater Accra region. So you see, these are the three regions that were involved in the issue that happened last year.
And we also have the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief Executive Officer of National Ambulance Service, the Inspector General of Police, and all of them.
Yes, yes. So I'm going through the entire list here. So we have the Honorable Minister for Interior. We have the Honorable Minister for National Security, which is critical. Of course, Interior means the police and other services as well. The Honorable Minister for Health. So again, the ramifications of what happened in Mepe, for example, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Esujaman constituency, which is, of course, one of the hotbeds of that area, the constituency there, Esujaman. We have the Honorable Member of Parliament for the Lower Manya Krobo constituency. Okay, and then also a Member of Parliament for Shai Osudoku constituency, Member of Parliament for North Tong constituency. Of course, that was also another hotbed. Mepe is in that particular constituency, the Honourable Member of Parliament for Central Tongue constituency, and Honourable Member of Parliament for the South Tongue constituency as well. We also have the Ada constituency, Member of Parliament for Ada, Member of Parliament for Anglong, Member of Parliament for Keta, Member of Parliament for... no, so now those are the Members of Parliament.
Yeah.
Then it comes to the District Chief Executives.
Yeah.
So again, the entire list that we've just gone through, all their DCEs. So again, you see there the DCE for Isujaman, for Lower Manyakobo, Shai Osudoku, and so on, all the way there, all the DCEs. And then we go to...
the president of the traditional councils.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then we have the various traditional councils,
yeah.
all right? And so we're dealing with the president for Akwamu traditional area. The Akwamu traditional area is that whole, the Esujaman, Atimpoku, that whole entire area. So the Akwamu Traditional Council, the Enum Traditional Council, the Busugwa Traditional Council, the Emanya Kobo Traditional Council, and these are all the presidents of these councils. Osudoku Traditional Council, that's the acting president. Then we have Paramount Chiefs. So Bato, Paramount Chief, the Manklalo of Mepe traditional area. We have the Manklalo of Fojoku Traditional Council, the Togome Traditional Council, Manklalo for Dofo Traditional Council, and the region of Volo Traditional Council, and the Manklalo for Bakba. That's one of the places that we went to. Yes, as well. Of the Mafi, the president of the Mafi Traditional Council, the president for the Ada Traditional Council, the paramount chief for the Fevier Traditional Council. We have the paramount chief of the Tefle Traditional Council, paramount chief for Sokoi, Sopo Traditional Council, for the region for Agave Traditional Council, the Manklalo for Vume Traditional Council, the Awomefia of the Anglo Traditional Council. Then we have the Director General for NADBO. Then, of course, we bring the fire service in as a chief fire officer. And then the Inspector General of Police, the Chief Executive Officer for the National Ambulance Service. And finally, the Chief of Defense Staff. So there's a whole plethora of persons that are duty bearers that are involved in, in the aftermath of the decision to spill or the necessity to spill. Now, I think to give us a better context, we want to speak to an engineer to find out. We'll be speaking with engineer Abdullahi Mahama to give us context for what is happening here. And when we say spillage, it's controlled spillage, of course, but then at what point does the spillage is it necessitated for it to happen, and so on. So let's take a look. Let's speak to engineer Abdullahi Mahama right now. right, so these are some visuals of what happened last year. We did extensive coverage of the entire spillage zone, that all the areas that were affected we covered, and you can see very, very devastating scenes of things that happened last year. Many houses, submerged
into water.
Some fully submerged, some partially submerged, but a lot of people were, displaced. Many people, tried to recover in some way or another after the spillage.
Yes.
But it's not been easy.
It's not been easy.
And of course we led the charge here at ChannelOne TV into the enclave that was affected, and we went to places like Tokpo, like Bakba, like Mepe, and so on, and we really engaged with the community members, firstly to supply relief items, and of course many of you donated very kindly and generously, and we really appreciate that. So yes, looking again at what happened last year, so the various, after we went with the various relief items, it became very apparent that we needed to do more than just give them relief items. And so we went into building resettlement centers. And so we built a number of those. And then we also went into special service deliveries, as building a clinic, for example, in Mepe. And then, of course, building a whole new development in Bakba, and so on. So, yes, it's coming around again, and the spillage is happening. I feel like this time around, there's a lot more proactiveness to try and forestall, what happened the last time, and prevent what happened the last time. And so the VRA has already released this, and then they are looking to do a lot of engagements, so hopefully there will be massive engagements across board. People who are in low-lying areas will have time to move, so that they don't get their things, all messed up in the spillage, should it spread that far, because in times past we've had spillages, but the waters just haven't spread so far.
Exactly.
But last year was quite devastating, So again, we're going to speak to an engineer to sort of give us a sense of the ripple effects of what happens when the dam is spilled. First of all, the question I have is, at what level do we commence spillage?
Right.
Now, if we see the water rising to a certain level, we know that the speed at which it's rising, in 2 weeks, if nothing else happens, it will hit critical point for spillage. Why don't we start spilling now?
Yes.
Because we are seeing, we can predict. Because they have predictive models, they know exactly how to do. I mean, our engineers are astute.
Which is what we talked about last year. Everybody was talking about, okay, didn't you see the limits? Didn't you realize we've reached that limit of spilling and all that? But for me, my major question is, what does this mean? What does this whole spillage mean again? Are we going to go through this? Is
the whole thing that we went through last year? Well, thankfully, Engineer Mahama has joined us on the line. And Engineer, good morning.
Good morning, David.
Yes, thank you for joining us on Breakfast Daily once again.
Welcome.
Right, so as Chris was asking, what does this mean? If the announcement has come today on the 5th of July that they released a statement, they are prepping us that another spillage is going to happen. Many people are dreading what happened last year. Is it automatic that what happened last year will repeat itself?
David, I could hardly hear you. Can you come again?
I'm saying that, is it possible that people dreading what happened last year, that we could be reliving what happened last year? Hello?
Yeah, David, I can hear you. Good morning to your cherished viewers, and your good self and your co-host. other people were helping you to do your program this morning. The weather forecast or the Ghana Meteo and the international, what do you call the LIMO forecasters will be able to tell us whether we have witnessed the runoff to its maximum, whether it is actually reducing or we are now actually getting to the peak. If we are getting to the peak, then it means that we may be expecting something similar to what happened last year. Unfortunately, we haven't done much to relocate a lot of the people downstream. And I know that will be very much capital intense. And even for us to be able to construct the dams that will supposed to take some of these waters coming from upstream, they will not be anything less than, let's say, 5-6 years if we should do a proper design, planning, and then construction of, let me say, relief dams, if I want to put it that way, along the main water lake. And the spillage warning, as they have just notified the citizenry, is just a way to say that, okay, we've not actually come out of the woods yet. So can we start to look for alternative locations to stay? There are about 9 districts that were affected. Your good selves did a wonderful job from last year into this year, like we were just saying. But let's put this in context that the only challenge that we'll be having on the voter is that if you don't have exactitude to the forecast, that's why they call it forecast, because they are forecasting to a certain quantity of water to receive on that stretch. Now, let me just give a small preamble. The Volta Lake is about 400 kilometers long. That's like from Accra, let's say from ChannelOne all the way to Kintampo.
Yeah.
And beyond.
Yeah.
The total surface area of that water is about 3.5% of the total surface of Ghana. That is quite huge.
Yeah.
And when this spillage, if we get to the peak and we don't spill, there are 2 things we are supposed to know, which is likely to occur. You spill, you have damages to properties and possible loss of life. You don't spill, the dam, when you get to its maximum load capacity, would fail. And when it fails, the Akosombo, the dam, as well as the 9 communities will be washed into the sea in a blink of light. Just like what we witnessed in Libya when the dam collapsed somewhere last year, September 11th, last year. So it will become a necessary evil at the time that you have to start the spillage as they are warning the citizenry. You see the bridge that links, that connects from Accra towards the Volta region?
Yes.
The Akosombo Bridge.
Is it that bridge, or you're talking about the Sugakope Bridge?
Sugakope Bridge. The one that connects the eastern and Greater Accra towards the north, the Volta area.
Yes.
To Burkina, to Togo and beyond.
Yes. Yeah.
When the collapse of the bridge occurs, that would be washed in a microsecond.
Wow.
So, like I said, the necessary evil, you don't spill, the dam will collapse. You spill, you're going to have damage to life, properties, and possible loss of life. Because the capacity of that dam, let me just give you see the whole world.
Yeah.
Let's say we're about 7 billion.
Yeah.
If everybody's supposed to be given 2 bottles of water to drink, the quantity of water can be consumed for 40 years.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Say that again. I need you to repeat that. So, if you looked at the whole world of 7 billion people. Hello? Okay.
He said something about, 7 billion people, and each person is given 2 bottles of water.
He said, but it's the length of time he said the water would last for.
Yeah.
He was referring to something about 40 years.
14 years, yes.
14 years. We'll be able to have everybody. Okay, so, engineer.
David.
Yes. All right. So please clarify that, statistic you gave us. You're saying that the world is 7 billion people, roughly. If everybody had 2 bottles of water.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Daily.
Go ahead.
If everybody should be served 2 bottles of water daily. That water can serve us over 40 years.
14 years.
40
years. Wow.
Yes. If you consume 2 bottles of water a day, every human being.
That's how much water is in the water lake.
That is the magnitude of the water you are talking about.
Goodness gracious.
And that should tell you the pressure that the dam is holding. That at a point where we get to the its capacity and we don't spill.
Yeah.
We don't do the control spillage.
Yeah.
With a very adequate projection of forecast from the Meteo and the lean, those who give us the lean season report. That is the magnitude of water that will spill in 1 second if the dam should collapse. 9 communities, districts will be washed into the sea. And they will not just be at the edge of the sea. God forbid. We'll go beyond about 10 kilometers into the sea before the surroundings may be witnessed. And that means that whatever you are trying to prevent now would collapse, will be washed. So is it not better, sadly, to deal with a certain fraction of percentage than to deal with the total collapse of the whole community I'm just mentioning? Keta North, Ketu North, South, a lot of them, part of being a Katamanso, it will come towards Pram areas.
Right.
That is how the water will spread when the dam should just go off.
Right. So, engineer, would you say
it's one of them?
Yeah, engineer. So, would you say it's best for people to, relocate from those areas?
Ideally, I think when the design of the water lake was initiated, right from the time it was designed before the construction, all this were mentioned as part of the design. I'm sure when we demand this data from the VRA, they should be able to give us the data as in the event of spillage, where is the water supposed to pass, and what was the measures which were put in place. That is one of the things that all the districts in those localities will be abreast with in issuing of permits to any developer to put up a building in those stretches. So if we have this data and it's kept at the VRA, and that is wrong, these are information that are supposed to be tabled to all the districts who issue permits for physical development within their enclaves. So this area may not have any structure cited because of an unforeseen circumstance that we don't know which year may come, just like what is happening at the wager. So this information should not be kept on the shelves of VRA or the wager authorities. These are information that should be disseminated to the government institutions who are mandated to issue permit or otherwise to people who want to develop some of these areas. The areas may just be left for agro purposes, because with that one, at least it may not affect so much lives. But even though it may come with some shortage of food protected within the course of a certain particular year, but it's much more better than to have loss of lives like what we have witnessed in these Mepe areas and other areas. You see, the water that spilled last year, the contamination of affluents, WCs and other things, which were at the surface. You brought us a lot of videos. We drove there to have a look at it. But those contamination have not even been We have not had a report on the contamination yet, because all the water that inundated this area actually polluted surface water. It polluted groundwater, because the affluent were floating on the surface. When we have actually come to a very autumn dry season, have we taken it upon ourselves to run tests with the CSIR, VRA to see the extent of pollution that have been meted to us since the spillage of the water last year? Or, you know, it will take the next 5 years, 10 years for people to start to now live the experience of the contaminations that occurred over last year and part of this year.
Wow. All right. Engineer Muhammad, thank you very much for your thoughts and the clarity you've given us as to exactly what sort of danger and, you know, we really have. If we don't spill, it's far, far worse than any kind of damage that will come by spilling. We really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. We were speaking with Engineer Abdullahi Mahama. He's a road and building engineer, and giving us some perspective on that. The numbers are astounding. The numbers are truly, truly astounding. Yeah.
I don't know what to say. For me, I would have preferred that we all, like, if there was a way to do it, people need to move away from those areas.
No, but you see, so initially when the dam was built, there was supposed to be a resettlement plan.
Yes, but
and
that
then
never
they were disrupted
happened.
by various, you know, things that happened, coup d'etats, different things, and all of it. So the resettlement hasn't reached. So people are living in areas that they shouldn't be living.
Yeah, so I think it's like, now that the conversation is here, we should have that plan.
Address that.
There should be that plan. Okay, even if it's not going to happen now, it should be there that in some years' time, people should not be living in this area.
Yeah. You know what happened in Libya? About 20,000 people or so were you know, lost their lives.
Yes.
And you know, so it's crazy to think of what would happen, because our waters here, in a certain sense, so you know you have about 10 million cubic meters of water behind the dam, but the water lake itself holds about 153 billion cubic meters of water. So if you think about it, this water comes in, it drives the water. That's how we say in a split second, you know, everything is just going to go crazy. But let's speak to NADMO right now, Mr. George AC of NADMO. George, thank you for joining us on Breakfast Daily.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Okay, your line is not too clear.
Welcome to Breakfast Daily. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. We found out that the VRA has released a statement regarding their proposed spillage, and they're looking to do a lot of engagement and so on and so forth to prepare for a possible spillage later on this year. What is NADMO's preparatory plans like in this regard?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning to your listeners. NADMO has a joint standing committee with VRA on matters relating to the dam and possible spillage, which committee is headed by our Deputy Director General from our side. He has the technical resource, Saji. So he's been working in partnership with them and then engaging all stakeholders. I know they've been having meetings from time to time, which includes members from the districts that are likely to be affected in case of any spillage. So this has been a continuous engagement. So yes, once they've released this, all we need to do is to get together and then deploy our team to begin the community engagement in the likely affected areas.
Right. So, you know, oftentimes what happens is that, like even last year, we experienced that a lot of communities would say, we are waiting for NADMO, NADMO hasn't come and so forth. The level of preparedness in terms of, you know, the relief items and all of those things, what are we looking at? Sometimes we have the issue of the local NADMO says we are waiting for national and so on. how are you preparing the local NADMO to make sure that they don't need to be waiting for national? National already preempted and dealt with the issues.
Yeah, once there's a standing committee and once there's a continuous engagement, all we need is to elect the local NADMO to begin the process there. And matters of relief and co. Once we're working with VRA itself, NADMO itself, from headquarters down to the region to the affected districts, definitely we'll put our acts together so that there will not be issues of we're not properly informed and so we're not properly prepared and didn't pre-position relief items and co. I think that is not going to happen. So this engagement will be very thorough, and at the headquarters, to region, to district, and the local NADMO itself will be thoroughly involved in every process all the way.
Right. So, Mr. George, with your conversations and meetings that you've been having with the VRA, do you foresee any, disaster of any kind?
Yeah, once they say it's going to be a controlled spillage, what it means is that it's going to be gradual, and then as and when they move, so we may not have the serious impact immediately. But as the water level keeps rising and they are doing the controlled spillage, and they decide to spill beyond a certain volume, definitely there's likely to be consequences if it gets to that point. But if it's still controlled and it doesn't get to the optimum where they normally don't have a choice but to spill volumes, if it doesn't get there, we don't foresee any difficulties. But when it gets there, we'll have some challenges on our hands.
All right. So to the layman watching right now, how would you describe controlled spillage?
Oh, okay. Because we're anticipating that it will get to the optimum. So what it means is that I think they did it last year as well, before they got to the level where they didn't have a choice. They'll be filling it gradually, and you will not feel the impact. In fact, you will not even know spillage is going on. That's what they mean by controlled spillage. It will be moving gradually, and by the time it gets to the peak, they would have spilled enough, and the impact will not be that hard. Yeah, that's what they do.
All right. So thank you very much, George, for speaking to us this morning. And
You're welcome, my brother.
You all the best.
Thank you.
We wish you all the best. All right. So that was Mr. George AC. He's the Director for Communication at NADMO. All right. So those were his thoughts there.
Yeah.
I do hope, though, that the anticipation is done right, so that if, for example, you have to spill 1 cup today, because this is the pace at which you're going. If the rains come heavier, we increase the spillage. Do you see the thing? So that we don't get to a point where it becomes critical.
Right.
You get it? So for me, I mean, it's up to VRA.
Yeah, I wish I could actually ask VRA, because as a layman, I'm asking and wondering, does the rain actually affect it, or can they wait till the dry season before they actually spill?
Oh, no. It's the rain. So you have a combination of Ghana rains and then also other rivers that are coming in.
Joining in.
Do you see? So rains in other places. So Burkina Faso will definitely be one of them. Maybe Togo. I don't know about Togo, but definitely Burkina Faso will be one of them. Of course, when the Bagri is spilled, it spills over, right? Good. So the Burkina Faso will affect, but then definitely rains in Ghana also affects. So,
Okay.
Anyway, well, let's all stay safe. Let's pray. And, let's hope that all our duty bearers will do their utmost best to prevent what happened from last year